Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I'll discuss the third rule of incidence of taxation and I'll prove it in a mathematical way. So third rule of incidence of taxation says that the parties with lower elasticity bears the higher burden of taxation. So definitely we are talking about the indirect tax. So if an indirect tax is imposed on the producer, like sale tax or value added tax, whatever it is, per unit tax, so this indirect tax is transferred to the consumers in form of increased price. So here we'll show that, mathematically we'll show that if given the price elasticity of supply, if price elasticity of demand is high, the producer cannot share much burden to the consumers. So producer has to bear the more burden of tax and vice versa. So similarly, given the price elasticity of demand, higher the price elasticity of supply, higher will be the burden that can be transferred to the consumers. So if we say that, for example, if we say that if given say PES is constant and ED rises, that means lower burden to consumers and vice versa. So that means the burden of tax or the share of the burden of tax that the producers can transfer to the consumers, that is inversely related to the price elasticity of demand. So similarly, if we consider price elasticity of demand, it is constant. So if E is high, that means higher burden to the consumers. So that means the share of burden that the producers can transfer to the consumers, that is directly related to the price elasticity of supply. And in this video, I'll prove that the share of tax that the producer can transfer to the consumers is directly related to the price elasticity of supply and inversely related to the price elasticity of demand. So just let's start with the elasticity. That if we consider that price elasticity of, so after once a tax is imposed, then what will happen? The price increases normally in the market because an imposition of an indirect tax will cause a decrease in supply, and for that price increases, and that increased price is the burden of the tax that is shifted to the consumers. So whenever P rises, we see Q falls. The market clearing level of output falls whenever the price of the commodity increases. So now what we see here, that price elasticity of demand will be given as minus delta Q. So you use the plain formula P by Q equals to ED. Or we can write delta Q equals to minus ED into Q into delta P divided by P. So we'll remember this. I'll give this equation number 1. Now let us come to the price elasticity of supply. So here price elasticity of supply will be considered in a slightly different way than the traditional formula of supply, because here what we see actually what producer receives from each unit of sale, that will also change, and the change will be given as del P minus T, which is definitely negative because del P is the increase in price but T is the per unit tax. So the amount that producer receives for each unit of sale, that will decline. So we can write here price elasticity of supply will be given as del Q divided by del P minus T into P by Q equals to ES. So from here we can, by cross multiplication, we can write del Q equals to ES into del P minus T into Q by P. So this is, we give equation number 2. So see, in equation 1 and 2, delta Q left hand sides are equal, so right hand sides will also be equal. Hence we can write the equation now. So we can write here that that will be given as ES into delta T into Q by P equals to minus ED into delta P into Q by P. So first we can dismiss this two. So from here we can write ES into delta P minus ES into P equals to minus ED into delta P. Or if we, so we can write here delta P plus ED delta P equals to ES into T. So ES plus ED so if we consider that this is the formula, that means, so this is T means tax per unit and delta P means the burden of tax that the producers can transfer to the consumers with the in form of increased price. And definitely what we see here, that if price elasticity of EP and ES both are greater than 0, then delta P will be obviously less than T. So producer can transfer the burden, but they cannot transfer the entire burden. Now we'll come to the final thing, that so from here if we see delta P equals to ES by ED plus ES into T. So what do you see? If ES by ED plus ES, this rises given the T, that means delta P will also rise. So if we see this ES by ED, price elasticity of supply by price elasticity of demand plus supply, if this value increases, then definitely higher of the tax burden can be transferred to the producers, to the consumers by the producers. Now to explain it, we can take the help of some numerical values to explain it in easy method. So just first we consider that the tax is per unit, tax per unit is given as $10. $10 per unit tax is imposed. We are taking the easiest form of proportional tax. So tax is imposed for each unit of sale. So T equals to $10. Now, just let us consider a situation in which price elasticity demand is 4 and price elasticity of supply is, let us consider 4. So what will be the value of delta P? Delta P, by using the formula 4 divided by 4 plus 4 into 10. So it equals to 4, 10, 40, 40 by 8 equals to 5. So that means $10 tax per unit is charged. Now $5 is transferred to the consumers and the producer bears $5. Now we'll see both. If given the price elasticity of demand, price elasticity of supply rises, what will happen to the tax burden that can be shifted to the consumers, or what will be the increase in price? And we'll use both, increasing the keeping the price elasticity of demand unchanged, we will increase and decrease the price elasticity of supply. So we'll take higher value and lower value of price elasticity of supply and check it. Then again, keeping price elasticity of supply constant, we will increase and decrease the price elasticity of demand, and then we will find it. So just for an example that we will start here. So first we have done EDES equals to 4. Now let us consider ES equals to 6, ED equals to 4. So given the price elasticity of demand, price elasticity, supply rises. So what will be the value of increase in price? So this will be 6 by 6 plus 4 into 10. So finally 6. So previously when price elasticity of demand and supply both were 4, then one $10 out of $10 tax, the producers can transfer $5 to the consumers by price increased by $5. Now what we see here, as the price elasticity of supply rises, for a $10 tax, price will increase by $6. Similarly, again, so what we see here, if given the price elasticity of demand, price elasticity of supply rises, then the consumer the higher burden can be transferred to the consumers. Now, if we say that price elasticity of supply is infinite, that means if there is a perfect elastic supply, so what we can write, delta P equals to ES by ES plus ED, and if both sides these are replaced by infinity, this is very negligible part. So del P will be equal to T. That means the increase in price will be exactly equal to the tax charged by the government. So entire tax burden can be shifted to the consumers. Similarly, the opposite case, if we consider price elasticity of supply, ES equals to 0, that means perfectly inelastic supply, we can see that delta P equals to 0 by 0 plus ED into T. So delta P equals to 0. So the producers have to bear the entire burden. So from this one proposition, we can say the proposition that given the price elasticity of demand, higher the price elasticity of supply, higher will be the share of tax burden that the producer can transfer to the consumers. And if the price elasticity of the supply is perfectly elastic, we will find that the delta P will be exactly equal to T. And now with the case of demand, the T equals to $10 per unit tax. I am not changing it. So right now if we start for the perfectly inelastic demand, so that means CD equals to 0. So what we will find here? Delta P equals to ES plus 0 into T. So definitely delta P will be equal to T. So if the demand is perfectly inelastic, that means if the demand curve is vertical, the entire burden of tax will be shifted to the consumer. That means the increase in price per unit will be exactly equal to the tax per unit charged. And now if I say that the price elasticity of demand increases, what will happen? So just you see here one case that P equals to 10, ED equals to 5, ES equals to 5. So whenever we see that, so what will be delta P, what will be the value of delta P? 5 by 5 plus 5 into 10. So it will be 5. So $5 will be, the increase in price will be given as $5. Now if we say it, if it rises to, price elasticity of supply remains same, price elasticity of demand is increasing. So let us consider it is increasing to 7. So Delta P equals to how much? 5 divided by 5 plus 7 into 10. So 5 into 10 by 12. So 4.16. The price will increase by $4.16. And if the price elasticity of demand is perfectly elastic. So if we see that ES equals to infinite, so what we will find that del P equals to ES by ES plus infinite, obviously almost equal to 0. So what we see here, if the demand is perfectly elastic, the producer cannot shift the burden. The producers have to bear the entire burden. So from here we get two propositions that whenever the producers are being taxed, the share of the burden will depend. What we see that the share of the burden will depend directly to the price elasticity of supply and inversely to the price elasticity of demand. So given the supply, price elasticity of supply, demand becomes more elastic, less will be the burden of taxation shifted to the consumer. That means there will be lower increase in price, and for a perfectly elastic demand, the increase in price will be 0. So entire burden has to be borne by the producer. So similarly, if the demand curve is vertical, that means price elasticity of demand is 0. That means the producers can shift the entire burden to the consumers. And just the opposite thing will happen for the price elasticity of supply. So higher the price elasticity of supply, higher will be the burden of taxation that the producers can transfer to the consumers. So if the supply is perfectly elastic, that means for a horizontal supply curve, when E equals to infinite, the increase in price will be exactly equal to the per unit tax. And vice versa. If the supply curve is vertical, that means if the price elasticity of supply is 0, then we'll find that delta P is 0. That means even after imposition of tax, the price will not increase. So this is the mathematics of the incidence of taxation. The graphical analysis, I have my video. I am posting the link in the comment box. So if you like it, so please hit the like button and please share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with another video later. Thank you so much.